Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel. I am here today with an update video, which has been like long time overdue. I think my last video was in August and it was actually a whip parade, so there's no need for me to do a whip parade at the beginning of this year because I just did one in August and that was my last video. But yeah, so I have I think 4 new starts since my last video, 3 finishes, and just some other progress to show. If you follow me on Instagram, I have already shown most of this stuff on Instagram, so you'll already kind of know what's going on. But yeah, so I'm gonna start off with finishes, then go into whips, then new starts, and then talk a little bit about knitting that I have done. So let's go, because I don't know how long this is gonna be. So my first finish, I think after my last video, was on Zelda and Link, which is a chart from Etsy from the shop Unique Door Sign, and I'll insert here what it looked like in my last video. And here it is finished, yay! So I stitched this on 40 count even weave 1/2 full cross, and yeah, I'm super excited it's done. I just stapled it onto a canvas that you can buy at like Michael's and stuff, wherever canvases are sold, and then hung it up. So this is done. I love it. Excited to have this finished. Yay. And it goes up here because I have like some gaming-y stuff here. I have my other Zelda Game Boy cross stitches up there. I have some pops here. You can't see it, but there's Sora, and then there's also a guy from Persona 5. So yeah, it's like gaming area is starting to gonna be like there once I get more stuff to, like finished. So there was that. And then my next finish was on Nightmare Before Christmas, which is another chart from Etsy from the shop Home Decor Cross Stitch. I wrote it down because I could never remember that one. And here's where it was in my last video. And here it is now finished. So I actually cropped the design. It's supposed to be like down more and have their feet, but I wanted to have it be a circle instead so that I can finish it in a hoop, just because it's like an easier finish. I don't really frame things that much because I don't know why. Framing is more complicated than a hoop or canvas. So yeah, I wanted it to be in a circle, so I cropped off the bottom. And this is on 22 count fabric, which I didn't really like stitching on 22 count. I've mentioned that I think many times. So yeah, I just wanted it to be done. And I also wanted it to be finished before Halloween, which it was, but I mean, I didn't actually have it hanging up on Halloween, obviously, because it's still like this. But yeah, so this was 22 count, 2/1 full cross, and this is fabric that I had dyed myself. So there was that. And then my next finish was one where I was just like, I have to get this chart done, because I had talked about, like, I think for like the last year or 2, I had talked about wanting to have it finished. And I obviously hadn't actually finished it in those years. And so I was just like, I need to get it done. Plus, something that I haven't really talked about is that I'm trying to only have new starts after I have a finish, because all of my whips go in these 2 spots. And I have 25 of these bags, and I don't want to have to buy more of them, and I also don't want my cross-stitch storage to have to be like more than this. So I've kind of tried to keep myself at 25 whips, just because that is what will fit here. And even then it's like jam-packed. But yeah, 25 whips is what I can fit here. So I need to get things finished before I can start new things and have them like go into a bag. Like, it needs a bag before I can start it is kind of what I'm trying to do. Fingers crossed. So I was just like, I need to get more things finished if I want to have starts. So this is the chart. It is Mini Home is Where the Magic Is. Artwork by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I will insert here where I was in my last video. And here it is, partially finished. I started finishing it around Christmas time, and then I was just like, I got tired of it because I don't have a sewing machine, so I have to hand stitch, and I had decided that I wanted to finish this, I don't even know what it's called, flat, foldy type thing. But I also put like stuffing, so it's got some stuffing, and then I need to do cording and then stitch on cording, and like I said, I have to hand sew everything. I don't like hand sewing that much. I like cross stitch, I don't really like hand stitching though, like things. So yeah, this is it. It's on 28 count even weave, 2/1 full cross. And I love this chart so much. Like, some charts don't work out as minis very well, but I feel like this one, like, you do lose some detail, but you still get a good idea of what is going on. And so yeah, I like it. I would have never finished the full size, and I'm happy to have this finished. So yeah, I just need to actually like stitch the bottom still and then make cording, and yeah, and I'll be finished. So those were my finishes, and now I will move on to whips that were things that I worked on. So I had still been doing the try and get to 5% on my charts, and so these are charts that I had pulled out to do the 5% goal, and that I had reached the 5% goal. And I actually have starting pictures, I'm pretty sure, on my phone. I think I remembered to do that. I have a separate album on my phone for when I take pictures for videos, so hopefully they're all there and I will be able to insert them. So the first chart is Dear Alice, which is by Artisy. I'll make sure that I insert the artwork and all that stuff here. And so yeah, I reached 5% on this one. I think it was a few days after my last video. And yeah, I started this one on the bottom, and I'm stitching all the black first. And it is a big chart. So this is on 18 count, 2/1 full cross. And I think that going forward, so I still want to do the 5% goal for smaller charts. So charts that are under 200,000 stitches, I will stitch on until I get to 5%. But if a chart is over 200,000 stitches, or if it's one that I'm doing full cross, so I think this one, as I think probably over 200,000 stitches, plus I'm stitching it full cross, so it takes a lot longer, then I think that instead of going to 5%, I will cut that to 2.5%, just so that it's quicker, because this one, I ended up having to work on it quite a long time to get to the 5%, and I don't know, my focus on like a whip at a time, I like to do shorter amounts instead of longer, and then I just lose focus, especially because this was all black. And stitching all black for like a period of time, it just like, it's not fun. It's not. It's really boring. And so yeah, so I got to 5% on that. And then the next chart, because I was stitching these to get to 5% in order that I had started them. So the next chart on the list, based on the order that the charts were started, was Rainbow Basin by, who was this by? It's artwork by Emperor Pep, and it's charted by Tilton Crafts. And here is where I got to stitching on it to 5%. There are hanging parked threads everywhere. So when I stitch on these, I usually stitch cross country-ish, but I also park. So like if I'm stitching on a color and there's a lot of it, I will stitch that color, and then I will usually park the thread once the color starts to get more spread out, and I would have to count farther because counting just slows me down. So then I'll park that thread, pick a color that will fill in that area more, and then I'll pick that thread back up once more colors are put in, and so I have to count less, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's how I stitch. And this is being stitched on 36 count, 1/1 10 stitch, so a half stitch. And yeah, it's so tiny, it's so small. And a lot of what I did, I don't even know if you can really see that much, because I filled in a lot of this really light color, which is not fun to stitch 36 count, 1/1 10 stitch in light colors on light fabric. It was killing my eyes a little bit, but so there was that. And then the next chart on the list was Heaven on Earth. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the chart. I don't remember who the artwork's by, but I'll have it linked down below, and it's charted by Charting Creations. And here's where it was, and here is where getting it to 5% is. I started this one in the top right corner, stitching it 2/1 10 stitch, which is a half stitch. And I'm trying to get a lot of the sky done first, because I know that the sky is going to be like the boring part, and I want to try and get the boring part out of the way and then save the exciting part for later. Yeah. there's that. And I'm also stitching this one. This was the first chart, I think, that I am using DMC and CXC floss together, and I like it. The CXC, I don't really notice a huge difference. Like, it's slightly fluffier than DMC, and people have said that the black CXC provides better coverage than DMC black, but I didn't buy the CXC black because I already have a DMC cone, so I am set for black for a long time for DMC because, like, I have the huge cone. I need to use my cone. So those were the charts that I was working until 5%. And then now I will show some of the other charts that don't have the 5% goals that I worked on. So the next chart is Alice in Wonderland, which was a free stitch along from Owl Forest Embroidery. They actually released the last part in December, but I am not there yet. So here's where it was the last time you saw it. And here it is now. I have made changes to this chart, so, and I want to make more changes, so it might take me a while before I actually get this finished. So this is 18 count fabric that I dyed myself using, I think it's Rit dye in the color Eggplant. That is like one of my favorite purples, is their eggplant color. And so the changes I made is I added the Keyblade, which was from, I can't remember the Etsy shop. It's from an Etsy shop. I'll have it linked down below. And I found this Keyblade because I like the games Kingdom Hearts. And in Kingdom Hearts, you go to different Disney worlds, and Alice in Wonderland is one of those worlds. And this is the Keyblade that you would get from that world. So it's called Lady Luck. And then I also added in, this is like the little logo for Kingdom Hearts, so it's the heart with the crown, which I also found on Etsy, and I will have that linked down below. And then this was one of like the newer parts. And then I think that this part here and then the middle are going to be the last part that I stitched the way that Owl Forest charted the chart. After that, I think that everything else I might change it to be kind of Kingdom Heartsy. So down here where the card, I can't remember their names, I want to put a keyhole because there's like keyholes in Kingdom Hearts. I would like to do like the save spot here. There's like a glowy like greenish blue save spot, and then next to the save spot is the Moogle, and I want to have the Moogle with the save spot here. And then I want to add Sora and possibly Donald and Goofy. I was thinking about Donald and Goofy, but it might be hard because Goofy is so tall to get him to fit in this top space, but I know I for sure want Sora because he's the main character. He's gotta be there. And yeah, so I think everything else I'm going to be changing, so it might take me longer to finish this because I'm gonna need to figure out, find charts that will fit in these spots. So there's that. And I was stitching this using Sulky threads. I will link the packs down below that I bought. And because Sulky is thicker than DMC, I was using one strand on 18 count. So there's that. And then another chart that I worked on, which is a paper chart. And I think for my paper charts this year, my goals on those are going to be to try and stitch at least one page on paper charts because I'm not using Pattern Keeper to be able to tell when I've hit 5% or not. So this chart is one that I actually want to finish this year. Fingers crossed. We will see. And that is Kita from Pinky the Pink on Etsy, or she has a website called makeitpink.net. And here's where I was the last time you saw it. And here she is now. She's getting so big. I am stitching this on fabric I dyed myself using Eggplant, so it's like similar to the Alice in Wonderland fabric. This is 28 count, 2/2 full cross. And I decided I wanted to get her face stitched, so I've been working my way up. And then there is a ton of hair to stitch now, which is stitched in, I'm using B5200. I'm not sure if it's charted in white or if it's actually charted in the B5200, but I'm using B5200. So there's a whole bunch of hair to do. And then after I finish the stitching up here, I actually want to finish the back stitching and beads for this top part and actually have this top part finished before I work to the bottom. And I really want to finish her this year because I want to start. She came out with, or Hannah Alexander has artwork for Link and Zelda, and they were released as cross-stitch patterns, and I bought both Link and Zelda, and I would like to start them, but like I said, I'm trying to keep my starts to like correspond to finishes, so I need to have a finish before I can start. I think I'm going to start Link first because I already have fabric for him, so I just need to finish something, and I think that I would like to replace one of the Pinky the Pink charts with another one, so I need to get this finished. And I think that was all the whips, and then now it's new starts. Yay! There was a lot, it seems like. So I had 3 finishes, which meant that I could have 3 new starts. And then I had one chart where I quit working on it. I retired. I was like, I'm not gonna stitch this chart anymore because I don't like it I don't like the way it's stitching up. I love the artwork. I don't love the way it's stitching up. So there was one chart that I decided I was going to replace with a different chart, and that's how I had 4 starts. And so the first new start was a chart called Walking in the Rain. It's charted by Artisy, and as soon as I saw the artwork, I loved it. I have been looking for a fall colored like chart, a fall theme chart that had like the bright oranges and stuff, because a lot of fall charts, it seems like, are kind of like duller colors and they're not as bright. And this one had like bright oranges and stuff, and I loved it. So here's the artwork. And I didn't work on it for that long, but this is where I got to, because I started working on this, and then it was like right after I started this chart that I was like, I need to finish Mini Home is Where the Magic Is. So this one kind of got put to the side. So I'm stitching this on 20, I think this might be 25 count and not 28. It's 25 count, 2 over 1 10th stitch, because 10th stitch is so much faster than full cross. So there's this. I love it. The colors are just beautiful for fall. And then my next start, and this is one where I am calling this one like the replacement, where it's replacing a chart. I had been stitching on, what's that chart called? Santa's Workshop, which is artwork by Thomas Kincaid, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I was stitching the regular size color expansion, not the max color, not the regular, the color expansion, I think. There's a lot of versions of that chart, so it's kind of hard for me to keep track. But I wasn't loving the way the bottom corner was looking. It was very orange. It was a lot darker than it was supposed to be, because that chart had 09, and the 09 was replaced with 310. And it was just, like I said, it was just stitching up a lot darker, and I wasn't loving it because the colors were a lot different from the artwork. And like, I loved the artwork, but the colors were very different in the actual cross stitch. So I was just kind of like, I don't think I'm gonna finish it. And then I wanted another chart with Santa, so I started looking at Charting Creations, and I found Santa's on His Way by Charting Creations. So here's the artwork, and here is where I am on this. I started this one in the middle of the chart, and I love it. So the middle of the chart was technically like, here's the tree, but then I decided that I wanted to stitch over to the reindeer because there was a lot more blocks of color in the reindeer, so it was easier to, because this tree has so much confetti and I was not in the mood for confetti. So I was like, oh, let's just go to the reindeer, and I love this chart so far. This is 28 count, 2 over 1 10th stitch. I am getting really close to being at 5% on this, and once it hits 5% is when I will put this one away. I can't remember, I think I'm at like 3.5%, so it's getting closer. I'll keep it out till 5%, and then it will go away, which is sad because Christmas is already over and it seems like it hasn't been that long. So I started that, and then I knew I had bought this chart in like the summer, but I had been saving it for when Witcher Season 2 came out on December 17th. So that is Witcher, the large version from Thread Geeks, and here's my start. Did I just fold some over? Okay. I decided to start this from the bottom right corner, stitching all the black first. This is actually a smaller chart. Even though it says it's a large version, it's still under 100,000 stitches, which seems small. So I decided I was going to stitch all the black first. the black is the like main color. It has the most stitches, but I think it was like 9,000 stitches of black, so it's really not that much because like I said, this seems small. So this is being stitched on 25 count 2/1/10 stitch, and the reason I decided to stitch this one on 25 count was because I also bought the chart Yennefer from Charting Creations, and I figured out that if I stitched him on 25 count to make him like a little bit bigger and her on 28 count to be a little bit smaller, they will have the same, almost the same finish size. So they'll be like little partners one day hanging next to each other on the wall. I obviously haven't started Yennefer yet because I still don't have my floss and stuff yet from Charting Creations, because I actually ordered the kit, the material kit from Charting Creations. But obviously with like, number one, a lot of people are just ordering those because like her prices are really affordable compared to other companies that chart kits. So she has a lot of orders, and then obviously just like COVID guidelines and issues with like getting materials and stuff, it takes longer to get these things. So I understand, I will wait patiently. But yeah, so I've started him. One day there will also be Yennefer, and they will be a beautiful little couple, even though the show, what's going on with him? But so there was that. And then my last new start, which my last new start was one I actually was going to start in Sampler September, and then I started it on 2 different fabrics because I didn't like either one. I will show the fabrics that I was going to use real quick. So I had, the chart is, what is the chart? Quinto Acuto by Long Dog Samplers, and I'll insert the artwork. I had, my first fabric that I was going to use was like a green and blue fabric, because I was like, I will do something different. I'm not stitching anything on a greeny blue fabric. And then I started it and I hated it. This is using sulky threads because I was also like, I will use sulky and I will stitch it on a green fabric and this will be different from everything else. And then, I don't know, I just didn't love it for some reason. So I quit that, and then I was like, what fabrics do I have? And then I found this fabric that I had dyed, and it's like a dark navy-ish bluey blacky color. So I'd started it there, and I started it with silver and red and was like, I don't know about that. So then I had tested some other flosses and I wasn't a fan, and this was just like, I don't know, it was driving me crazy because for some reason I didn't like anything, and I've never had that happen before. Any other of my samplers I've started, I've usually just liked the fabric and floss and it hasn't been an issue, but apparently I was being very picky or something, I don't know. And my sister, she also was starting that chart, so then we started looking at silk floss because apparently silk just makes everything better, and we ended up ordering floss together, and we split the hanks from Silks For You. So we're both stitching the same chart with the same floss, but she's using a different fabric. So this is the floss. It is from Silks For You, and it is PR 019 and PR 166. They're so pretty. Like, this bright pink is just amazing. I love it so much. And then originally I was going to stitch it on either a pink fabric or a gray fabric, and I did not like either one of these, so these will be used for something else. So there was that, and I ended up stitching it on a basic white fabric. So long story short, I am stitching Quinto Acuto by Long Dog Samplers on plain white fabric using super bright floss. I am using 25 count 1/1 full cross. This is my first sampler on 25 count, and it's just so tiny. This is page 1 of the chart, and it just seems so small. Like, my hand is bigger than page 1. All my other samplers have been on like 18 count, so they're way bigger, and so this just seems minuscule. It's gonna be like a little baby sampler when it's done. I mean, baby, just like how tiny and minuscule it will be. So there's that. That was all of my progress. The last thing that I will talk about for cross stitch, and then I'll move on to knitting, is this year I didn't really set like a ton of goals. So like obviously I want to rotate projects and try and get 5% progress on charts that are in Pattern Keeper, or 2.5% if they are over 200,000 stitches, or if they are full cross, which, like I said, I know that Dear Alice is full cross, that would be in 2.5%, and Game of Thrones is full cross. And I'm not sure about sizes yet. I need to go look and see how many of my charts are over 200,000 stitches. So I want to do that. For paper charts, I want to at least get 1 page done. So like on all of my long dog samplers, I want to get at least 1 page done on all those. And then there are a couple charts that I want to finish because I need to have finishes if I ever want to start anything else. So I wanted to finish Kita, which was, I already showed that. I would also like to finish the Lunar Princess Stitch Along from Sleeping Luna Designs, which this is where I am. So right now on it, is that not the right way? I can't tell. Maybe? I cannot tell for some reason. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure the red was on top. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the right way. Sleeping Luna Designs, this is on fabric that I dyed myself. 28 count, 2/1 full cross. I am changing the chart though because she had it charted with a rose and a moon in the middle, and I decided I wanted to have Serenity and Endymion in the middle, so I found a chart on Etsy. I cropped it, and I will be stitching a different chart in the middle, but because it's on 28 count 2/2, I'm hoping that it won't take as long because it's going to be a lot bigger, 2/2, and not 1/1 like a lot of my other stuff. So there's that I want to finish, and then possibly maybe finish the Crystal Palace from Mandarinx Design. They used to be on Etsy. Now they have, I think they have a different website now. Otherwise, for a while you could order charts through her, I think from her Instagram, like you could message her and stuff. So there's this one, Crystal Palace, and I am stitching this on fabric I dyed. It's, I think, an 18 count. It should go fairly fast because the background is all half stitches. So there's that. And then one other chart I restarted. I don't think I ever actually showed it since my last video. Is I actually restarted Tarot Town 2, but I only stitched on it for like a day, so there's not a lot to show. But I hated the 22 count fabric like so bad. And so I had decided I was going to dye fabric to kind of be like blue on top, purple in the middle, yellow on the bottom. And then for the background, I don't know if I'm going to stitch all the background or not. So we will see, but I dyed fabric and I started it from the middle this time. So fabric, blue, purpley, yellow, and a nice little start in the middle, which means I'm starting in like the floating castle area. And I'm thinking what I might do for the background is I might stitch the background, but only do it in one strand so you can still see fabric through the one strand, but I'm not sure. So there's that. And this is 28 count because, like I said, I hated the 22 count. It was too thick because I was using 2 strands, and I figure that even though I'm restarting it on 28 count using tent stitch, it's going to go a lot quicker. And yeah, I just need to get working on that. So yeah, there was that. And that is all the cross stitch now for sure, which this is like a super long video. But now there's knitting. So first thing in knitting is something that I had actually finished a while ago, but I don't know I'd showed it. I've never actually worn it. I'm wearing my Sub Pop tee, which is by Anemone and Vine on Etsy, and I love this. This is probably like my most worn knit garment. It is a little like crop top, top-down raglan tee. This was the first, I think it was the first like top that I knit, maybe. I think. I don't remember. It was either this or the like spaghetti strap tank. I don't remember which one was first. But this was super easy because she included directions and like links to places for all the steps. So it made learning how to do like the decreases really easy. So there was that. And then for knitting, I ended up knitting 2 hats. My children, 2 of my children, my younger ones, wanted hats, and there was a sale on yarn on So Livy Dyes Yarn, so I told them they could each pick out yarn, and I made them each the sock head slouchy hat. And this is the color Olivia. This is the color, what was the color? Never-ending Story, I think. So this was, obviously my daughter picked the Olivia, she loves pinks, and then this was what my son picked. So they each have hats. There was those, and then I started the Find Your Fade shawl, which is by Andrea Mowry, and I haven't worked on it in a while because I was waiting for all the colors to come out, because for this one I'm using the colors from the Laura Olympus yarn that she was doing, and so she was releasing a new yarn every month. So I had started this in the summer, but I was kind of waiting to see what other colors would be released throughout the year before I made like my final decisions. So I had started with Persephone, and then it goes into the pink here, which is Mint, and then this one is, I think this was Zeus, the purple. So I've done 3 of the colors so far, and I am about ready for the next fade, and my next color is going to be this color. Which one was this one? This one, if the name will come out, was the September color. And where's the name though? September. Daphne. So this will be next. And then it's going to start transitioning into blues, because there was some blues that came out in the Laura Olympus Club, and they are beautiful. So it's going to go the purple to this one, which has like pinks and bluies and kind of like somewhat purpley tones. And then I'm not exactly sure what order the colors are going to go in, but then there are these colors that are going to be coming next. And yeah, I just love the colors so much. So I'm really excited to finish working on this. The other colors, there is November, there is, which one was this? I'm trying to remember. This was, I think, Hades, which was February, and I made a top, a tank top, this some secret summer top from, I can't remember her name, but I'll link it down below. I made that with this yarn, so I've already used some of this. And then this was the December color, which, like, this is just gorgeous because it's just like a mix of like everything. So it's got like yellowy oranges and the greens, and then up here you have purples and pinkies and blues. And yeah, I think that this is just going to fit very well in with the shawl, because I had originally been planning on doing, I think, the yellow, and then I ended up switching the yellow out once this came, because I was like, this has to be in because it is perfect with all like the pinks and stuff that are already in this. So that is the Find Your Fade. I love it. I just need to get working on it. And then I also started, it's over here though, the Ember. I don't remember who it's by, but I'll link the Ravelry down below, because I didn't write it down on my notes for some reason. I think I forgot that I had started it because I haven't worked on it in a while. But I started the Ember sweater. It is complicated and it's probably way above my knitting level, but I'm trying really hard. So here's where I am on that. It's rolling. Yeah, like I said, this has a lot because it's the color work, but then it also has just a lot. It has short rows, which I'd never really done a ton of short rows, and it also has kind of like some like lacy stuff. I don't know if you can really even see, but like you can see like my finger right there, so it's got like some little lacy holes and stuff. And yeah, so it's a lot. Like there's like multiple little color work charts that you're working on, and every time I look at it I'm just like, am I really doing this? And I'm using Holst yarn in the colors. What are these colors? This is Almond. This one, I don't think I have the paper, but it was like a marine blue, I think was something that it was called. And then I have a cone of the orange color, which is actually called Ember, which I thought was kind of funny because the sweater is called Ember. So there's that. I have no idea how long this would actually take me to knit because I am really slow and every time I go to work on this, I'm always just like, am I ready for the amounts of concentration it takes me? Like, no one can speak to me when I work on that because I'm just always like, I am counting very important things. So there's that. Yes, I think that is all. Okay, so thank you everyone for whoever actually came back to watch this video, because I know it's been a super long time since I've made a video, and I'm hoping to start making more regular videos now. Like, I was kind of nervous about making this video just because I wasn't sure how long it was going to be and if I even had pictures of like where I had started on things, which, like I said, I'm pretty sure I actually do have the pictures. And yeah, so this is kind of like a nice little reset video. You have seen, I think, everything. You know everything. You know my plans-ish. And yeah, so thank you everyone who came back. I hope that I will be back soon, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.